after a crowd of Focano general meeting, lots of conversation, and appear after say, Tibrek, so that you know to after the Kasaye, na to after the Kasaye, and so no fans to the Kasaye. General meeting in now, and you may see what you know, I'm all from Master Sabre or also Adrian or meeting what the better Ghana. Now also watch them watching what doing funny about Sikasem, about coaching and about the direction of the club, the infrastructure. Yeah, no, of course, so meeting us and they be doing come on. Crack, no matter what's watching. Kejuan Cassani, Erica City, where the minute of what, and I Sabre, and
Yeah,
maybe a fine.
yeah, me adum.
Almost definitely the radius. Has the meaning of a Cassidy be a fine?
Oh no. Has the
On the
fine.
air resource.
Yes.
And apart from resources, so.
Oh, if you look into our books, our books is not so sound. If you look into our on the field, so MY.
Oh, burning in out of Enra before I bet was on okay, so oh, burning out for be describing AGM.
Oh, AGM was revealing. It was revealing because certain things that were lingering in our minds came to bear.
Okay.
Some were confirmed, others were a bit surprised to some of us. But all the same, a good say about out. Now, the real financial position of the club vis-a-vis the performance of the club. You know, Mecca said it was revealing.
But they now say Mecca say surprising.
Surprisingly, a huge debt profile. It was very surprising. Now, ne brain ho Emma young Mr. questions into why this huge debt profile. I believe strongly say the club as a going concern, like as a company as a going concern, you will incur debts by all means because you have salaries to pay, you have recurrent expenditure that occurs each and every day, you have recruitment to do, you have certain decisions to take, decisions to sack coaches, decisions to dispense off with players, under contracts, the cost status committee, Yakoboka. All these things constitute debts to all of us. It's prudent decisions that you take. Emma, debt profile, no, a cost. If you take clear, prudent decisions, now near to the benefit of the club, I cannot because Osaki coach at the right time. Now, coach, you know, Uncle demand this kind of status committee. I'm one coach. What take correct decision? Who take a decision to dispense of players out of contracts? Now, Odoko status. Now, coach Waboka. Who take a decision to go and buy just any player? Now, the neighbor club no one perform more. Waboka. And decision making is very crucial in the way your accounts will be managed.
But was there anything as to why the debt?
No. Sometimes shareholders meeting, you don't provide details. They provide summary of what has happened. In one of my questions, the Bisabo chairman said, "Mahu revenue side of our accounts, Mahu sponsorships. Yes, also sponsorship of just about 2 million Ghana cedis, which is nothing to write home about. And yet, you claim say you were sponsors. Your pitch panels are. Yet the sponsors in actually a bit entirely. How much? It is sponsored by more than 2 million Ghana cedis. The whole quantum of the sponsorship, 2 million Ghana, over 2 million Ghana cedis. It will be said, how many of these sponsors and the amount to send the Shisha Omanim, say Omani sponsor house of food. You be said, boy, chairman. Ninja no say those details are not provided at shareholders meeting. To me, per details now, I should go to the club secretariat and demand for it. And I'll go and demand for it because I want to know how much Asogli, Sonon Asogli is giving to House of Folk. I want to know how much SAS is sponsoring House of Folk. What I say, I want to know how much sponsorship is going. For instance, and to Obia or attract coverage and a place in our shirts. Now pitch panels, panel no, a money about TV so no be in the form of an advert. That's a quantum of the revenue side, sponsorship require just 2 million Ghana cedis any of the buyer accounts are, then it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to write home. These are some of the things that are revealing and yet quite surprising to some of us. The question of ownership of House of Folk, for instance, Farouk Kukubisa, the explanation didn't sit well with me. Yes, because example about Chema, if you compare House of Folk and Chelsea, in our case, we have 100 million shares to float. You are floating just partly 5,101,000 shares or so, which is just about less than 1% of the shares.
Okay.
Of which the board chairman is the majority shareholder. What you say? Now, Chelsea, they are a absolute sale, outright sale. What talk? Your owner. It's different from House of Folk where shareholders will be called upon to come and approve share. What is the Chelsea? Shareholders via Momako approve accounts of Chelsea. And the House of Folks case, is quite different from the examples now making. What I say? House of Folk, we don't have any owner. We have majority shareholder. In the instance of majority shareholder running the day-to-day affairs of the club, we can say that yes, he's the owner. But in reality, he himself knows that he's not the owner of House of Folk. And that is why he cited an example of Unilever, he being a shareholder of Unilever. And yet, when we say we call on the owners of Unilever, Unilever, what I say, say MTN, board chairman is a shareholder of MTN. But when we call for the ownership of MTN, it is MTN. In the same way, there are shareholders in the House of Folk. Yeah. When we call for the owners of House of Folk, it is House of Folk. It is not an individual.
Okay.
And that is what I want everybody to understand.
I mean, also could be a question, but answer by no, it didn't look like an answer. No,
yes, one revenue side of the Anamisako say
board on this.
Member board nisem. We call you see our partners. Our friend no Common Value Alliance, House of Folk, Cincinnati. And Offingham. BBC said, what is the nature of the partnership? Are there any financial implications in the contract or in the partnership? Or say there are no financial implications against House of Folk?
Okay.
Very satisfied. Now, Osansoka said, often and for so a drought with technical aspect of the game. In fact, one of the best technical institutions in the world. And I'm coming to say, if we have a partner like that, why do we struggle to get a coach, a top-notch coach? And I was of the belief that, say, you was a partnership with no more highly sophisticated technical team. Can't Offingham also help us to get a top-notch coach rather than the one that we have? And also, no, I'm saying I sound very well to the board chairman. In any displeasure, I'm what say the way I describe the coach and all of that is not the best. And yeah, I accept it. Say, yeah, my compare with lower class coaches, I accept it. For which, if I was given the opportunity, I would have rendered an apology to the coach. But what I wanted to drive home is that if you have a partner who is well versed in technical aspect of the game, no training coaches, or say Tuchel, one free. You mentioned other coaches, one free one. Now your partner, partner bit my boy. In the aspect of a good coach, obetimi aboyen, especially when we are touting of an academy. Why can't we get these coaches to come and help us also? And or the answers I knew say it didn't go well with me, but I didn't want to be the only person who was asking questions. And to me decided say me trying kakra. Then came the tenure of the board. He, the board chairman himself, admitted, say the board has stayed on for far too long, and that there are agitations for them to be replaced and all of that. He agreed. The only snag was that he pleaded with shareholders. Agenda no, it was to go and re-elect the board.
Okay. No agenda, so.
Yes, to re-elect the board, and I thought it was unfair for the agenda to read like that. The agenda should be to go and elect directors or to renew mandate of directors. But to re-elect them means that they have every two on the twasso. And here is a case, some members of the board have incurred the displeasure of the supporters nationwide and worldwide, who don't even want to see the face of them. And to me, somebody should come and move for the re-election of the and I'm saying, yeah, move. Because I'm saying, Obianko, me move. Me rather to sack them. And that I want to let him know that we don't want to see the next day, their face in the next day. They should be standing down from this moment. Immediately after the shareholders meeting. They should stand down. Because looking into our books, huge debts as a result of decisions, bad decisions taken by the board, which has resulted in us not making profit, which has resulted in us not attracting proper sponsorship, which has resulted in us not performing well on the field of play. And looking into our books and looking onto the field, books what is the justification for this particular board to remain in office the next day? There's no justification. And therefore I called for the dissolution of the board complete, not single individuals, all of them. As for the reconstitution of the board chairman, by virtue of the fact that is the majority shareholder, is an automatic choice. Frank Nelson, he is the individual majority shareholder, but the rest, they should reapply. If the board chairman is so desirous of bringing them back, they should come and apply one after the other. And then we raise our hands and vote for them or vote them out.
I said February, right?
We are meeting in February. We are in arrears of our accounts. We should be current, which means that Anka, by June 2023, we should have had 2021, 2022 accounts ready. But no, 2022, 2023 accounts ready. But ready. It's almost prepared. It won't say by November, December, it will be ready. Now, I'll go over it. I should be by February, we'll call for another shareholders meeting. Now, present accounts now you accept it. Now for your current. So that moving on, say you board now, then the board will be dissolved. Then a new one. Now me make say board we no you dissolve. Board we no. From today going you dissolve. They are only there to help the board chairman prepare the accounts. When the account is prepared and they present it to the a shareholders meeting again in February, we don't want to see this board's face. We want to see new members of the board proposed by the majority shareholder for us to approve of them. And that is what happened at the AGM.
Wow. So, in percentage, because how did it go?
Oh, 60-70%. It went well. Except my problem is that details of the account, for instance, are not shown. The name details, But meanwhile, what is compounding the problem is the revelation that House of Folk has been raising loans to run the club. Let everybody who is watching me understand, sir, the club is not being run from any individual's pocket.
Like we believe.
No. It was clear yesterday. The accounts revealed yesterday, clear, that House of Folk is being run on loans. And the loans are generated from corporate entities and banks. Corporate entities are running on House of Folk loans, charging 24% interest per year. Every year, the account has compound interest. Now, you're charging 24%. Now, company or the loans no matter no. And you talk about company. I find Strategic Initiatives Limited. And no, and a man has a running the day-to-day administration of the club.
It's not if say
Anna,
nobody dey see care free and answer.
Dabi, Togo company and Nama has loans. Now loans na eba no attract an interest of 24% per year.
Okay.
Anna pobi mana ye no. Ye ko sika every GT bank. Eno ne bank loan no. Eno so 23% per year. Maturity date July 2023. Into July 2023 no ye wie no. Ye nye sika nkotua. Enti strategic initiative limited again. And the kotua sa loan no e dey ma GT bank. Enti has pobi manuo running day-to-day administration of the club a Togo company a friend no strategic initiatives limited. Ena running house of food. Ebo house bosia me the running house of food.
So in the end, like I say has the Togo Cabibre, yes sir.
Has the strategic initiatives limited. Bibre ye nim obi a friend to.
But what was the plan? How is us paying the debts? And loan no ye dey no mutua.
Says here no, it has all of them have accumulated into a debt of about 24 million Ghana cedis as at now. Na strategy ye dey ebetua loan ni say ye be the right issue. Right issue ni say me 1% of the shares ye be ma me 1% am matter.
Okay.
Mentimi anto 1% na ye dey be public am obi ato. Togbe wo 69% as at now. 68 point something percent of the shares. You have money 68 point something percent of the current shares to buy. So when to me and you have public akoton. But to be say or be converting it no. E kana ye de no or be converting a 69% at the top on the right issue no. What it means is that physical cash emma. But e kana ye de no I to basic no. So better by 69%. A Canada you didn't say 24 million or say 75 million or whatever it is no. So better by 69%.
Because of
the right. But she can spend it. It is kind of my and some. The other and some I am me sika. I mean club in the car. Me go to your fresh money no. And no 31% no. And in this car, I have a good club. I'm a running club. In 2018, me resume in sa. Eka say, then Securities and Exchange Commission should allow us to float yet another shares. Me yesa me resume this motion way in 2018 shareholders meeting. Emma, it was accepted wholeheartedly. Sir, you be floating yet another shares for fresh people to come in. I know you're over 300 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
You be floating sa shares worth no. But I was say a right issue ni we. Right issue ni we. That is by law. I was say a right issue ni we. Then we can go out there and then raise money to pay off our debt.
Okay.
That is the only way I be finance your debt now. It was a but again, sir, who board? Na board no aboka we ato ho. Na say yenko raise shares. Yenko tuya saka na. What went into the debt? What went into the debt is decision making. Decision making in recruitment, decision making in hiring of coaches, decision making of sacking of coaches, decision making in sacking of players, decision making in honoring our matches. Every decision making cost has to focus a lot. And that is why if you said this board has not taken very prudent decisions in managing the club, and therefore they must go.
Yeah, but what kind of decisions, Togo can clearly said it's not as if you didn't know what they're doing. At the United Real Madrid, at the Chelsea, say, one making decisions sometimes and fire, and not just all they keep on, making decisions, especially with coaching days. They don't go and bring a coach to come and field. Yeah, and soon come and look at say board net or I said they don't know.
Obianka, sir, every single member of the board is an individual of his own right. Individual of intellectual capacity. I cannot doubt the intellectual capacity and wisdom of Frank Nelson. I cannot doubt that of to go there. If the Santo Dote, they are all men and one woman, a judge. You cannot doubt their capabilities.
Their private endeavors. Doing
Yes. But we are saying that decisions you have taken is what has translated into the books. And the books show that we have failed. Decision making is what has translated into our field of play. And the field of play shows that we have failed. It is not about any individual that we are talking about here. It is a decision of the board that has accumulated these huge debts. It is the decision of the board that has made us not to play so well. What I say, and therefore, this board must be put aside for a new breed of people to come in and see whether we can also raise the image of House of Folk.
Wow. I mean, Nana, ya wasabre. Offer na AGM komo yi.